I think the biggest shift is just when they introduced Cell in the first place.
What did you think about Cell as a villain at that time?
But I really like I like the way he's introduced, and like there's all the mystery when he first shows up.
Yes.
And there's a lot of it's just the whole creepy sci-fi vibe, and well, just with his design and the way he absorbs people, which is very creepy, and just the mystery of the finding the ruined, abandoned time machine, which is very just and like, oh, where is this extra one come from, and all that stuff, and then.
So you like the whole mystery stuff, right? Like
yeah, then
yeah, I do too.
And then when he revealed, like when he gives his autobiography, I mean, obviously that kills the mystery, but I did I like the story behind him. Like I actually kind of think it's ingenious the way Toriyama just flat out explains the mystery. Whereas, I mean, you'd think like the conventional wisdom would be like you'd want to draw that out as much as possible and just give like bits of information here and there, but. I think that can actually get kind of tiresome. Like, well, I guess with the classic example these days is Lost, where they just kept, piling on mysteries, and then it didn't really get wrapped up very well. Whereas with this, like Toriyama, he does wrap it up like very explicitly. Like, well, here's the explanation for all of these mysteries, which even Pickle literally says, like, okay, that solves everything now.
Well, that's classic Toriyama, though, because think about it. In the Piccolo Daimao arc, Krillin dies, and we immediately have Roshi explain who he is. Raditz shows up, we get the whole backstory on Goku. What do you call it? For Frieza, that was built up more. But I mean, like, for Cell, we have this. For Buu, we have Kaioshin explaining to them, Babidi, this and that, in that scene where they're flying. So,
yeah.
I just call it a classic Toriyama info dump. He tends to do this. Like, that's something that he kind of does, I don't tell you.
Yeah, but they, Cell, they do have there's a little longer period of mystery than we really got with, like, Raditz or Piccolo. But okay, so even though he's not quite as cool once you know everything about him, like I really like the part where he's like where he's absorbing people, and it's not that he's a big threat now. Like I mean he is powerful, but he's explicitly not yet strong enough to take on 17 and 18 directly, and so the challenge is, like, how do we stop this, like, growing menace before he does become powerful enough to just destroy us all? And so I do like that, because we don't get that quite in any other point in the series. Like, all the other villains, they're introduced to us as stronger than anyone else,
yeah,
generally.
This guy actually goes on a journey to get stronger.
Yeah, like I mean, like, you have characters like Frieza who they turn out to be stronger than you thought they were.
Yeah.
But Frieza's thing is he had all that power. He could have at any point gone directly to his 100% full power. So in a way, like, the fact that he didn't is kind of just him being an idiot. Whereas Cell, legitimately, he has to work to gain greater power. And I like that aspect. And even in, like, later in GT with Baby, he kind of does the same thing again. And then in outside of Dragon Ball, in One Punch Man, there's Garo, who is that same kind of idea again. Someone who starts out, decently strong, but the thing is just how he gets stronger and stronger with each, just over time, until he becomes like a really big threat to everybody. And then I guess in a way we've got that with Black now as well, where he gets stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
So I like seeing the villains themselves grow rather than being presented off the bat as just like fully formed.
And then the later Buu arc, you saw that a little bit too.
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't like it if it was all the time, but I like that as a bit of rarity.
Did you think that the absorption of the human beings putting Cell so much stronger than Piccolo was supposed to drive? I think that was kind of a weak storytelling. I mean, he absorbed a lot of people, but I just feel like regular humans, it just seems like to take that much of a jump in power. I don't know.
Well, I like that because it just pays off the fact that they're going around trying to stop him from overtaking him, and then at the end it's like, oh, we failed. He has overtaken us now. So it's like it confirmed that danger of just that he's gone too much, that he's grown to the point where they can't handle him anymore.
I'm going to talk to you about another contrived scene in a minute, but Piccolo versus 17, most underrated fight in the series? I would say yes.
Well, I wouldn't say it's underrated because frequently see people say that they say it's the best in the series.
Really? Because I love that fight, but I've seen people always ignore it on their top list. It's always like, Goku Vegeta. It's always, Goku Kid Buu. Like, I love that fight, but I'm saying I've seen the opposite that you've seen. I've seen people forget how great that fight was. Especially the part where they're punching each other in the chest, going right, like, you know what I'm talking about? When they go, like, really deep into each other with the punches? Like, that was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a generation thing, because I just remember back when I was getting the series, I was always cited as one of the top fights.
No, I agree. It's totally a generation thing, because I was in the series the same way in the 90s, and it's the same thing. I saw it back then mentioned more than it is nowadays. Like, people forgot about it. Now, Ten Shinhan doing the Kikoho, holding back second form Cell. Is this another, contrived? I'm just telling you my opinion. I thought it was kind of contrived, because he hasn't been important in a long time, and when we're first introduced to that move, right, we know that move could kill him. That's how I was back in the 20-second Budokai. At this point, he nails 10 of them in a row, or 20 of them in a row, and somehow Cell isn't, it just keeps coming, and Tien is not dead yet. What the hell, man? Does that bother you at all?
No, well, I think that's what's great about the scene, is that you don't expect him to be able to do anything, but he does by using this technique that's really not overpowered, it's pushing himself to his limits, and still he manages to make a difference, even though all he can really do is just hold still back for a few seconds.
Well, in the manga, it made more sense. In the anime, it was boom, boom, boom,
it's
boom.
Another thing where, because the anime draws it out, it seems a lot less reason. We kind of skipped over the whole 5 minutes thing, which in the manga doesn't make sense. It's a lot more reasonable in the manga. In the anime, of course, it's completely absurd. Yes. And here again, it's in the manga, it makes sense that Ten Shinhan would be able to just hold out, just be able to pin him down for just a little while.
But
whereas in the anime, it's like an episode or so.
It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to be technical, okay, so his technique, it's not the old useless Kikoho. It is the Kikoho, the new version. And so technically, this isn't really clear in the series, but what's supposed to be happening is that it's essentially a rapid fire version of the Kikoho. So it's not that he's using the attack many times in a row. It's that the nature of the attack is to fire these blasts one after another. Which, I mean, you kind of only get that in certain video games, like Attack of the Saiyans for the DS. That's explicitly how the difference is that you have the regular attack where it's only once, and then the Shin Kikoho version where it's the same. It's just repeatedly again and again.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But anyway, I don't have a problem with the idea that he just trained and improved the techniques so that it's it's a much better technique. And while they do actually say that he would die, Cell's it looks like you'll die anyway, but I'll kill you just for the hell of it. And then Goku saves him, and I guess because they give him Senzu or whatever, that's what saves his life. But otherwise, if he was just left on his own, he probably would have died.
So,
which is what we saw with Nappa as well, when he used it against Nappa and then just keeled over.
Yeah, which I thought was a great scene. We talked about that last time. I don't remember. So, the Room of Spirit and Time. Why didn't they use? It's just, again, I'm not gonna turn this into the whole Toriyama plot hole discussion, but why the hell did they not use that many times before? I feel I know you can only use it
Well, Goku. They say, he used it when he was a kid training for the tournament.
Yes.
But
why not for the Vegeta and Nappa fight?
I mean, maybe they did. In the manga, we don't really see much of their training with Kami, so you could say that they did use it then. I mean, it is kind of, I guess, taking it back there. It is kind of crazy how more powerful all the Earthlings get with just a year of training. Where they start off a lot weaker than Piccolo and Goku, and then they kind of leapfrog them so that they're all stronger than Raditz, which is one of those things. I think people who start with Z, they kind of just accept that. They don't even think about it, because to them it's for them this is the start of the whole series as far as they're concerned. So it's everyone is at level 5 essentially, and so any RPG where you just start off, and when you start training, when you start leveling up, it's you gain a lot of levels quickly. so for them it makes sense in that context. But when you look at it like in the context of the series, it's like what? It's like just midway through the series, everyone gets this huge power up that's kind of just glossed over. But anyway, so we're not so. But in the Android arc, like, well, you could, yeah, it is kind of just a convenient thing where it's like, here's this thing we've never mentioned before, but they say like, no one's ever managed to stay a full year in there before now.
You go
which
crazy.
I guess, yeah. So I guess the idea is at this point the main characters are powerful enough and like mentally and physically they can kind of tough it out.
Including Gohan was still a child, but hey,
Yeah.
it's Dragon Ball. Also, this arc.
That's probably why he becomes the Great Saiyaman. He goes, he after the fact kind of goes crazy.
He legitimately, that's why he didn't train. He legitimately lost his mind. He's like, I trained for a year in that hellhole. I'm not training. Plus, he went through puberty during that time. See, people forget, between Cell and Boo, Gohan went through puberty, and I think training might have been the last thing on his mind, but maybe I'm just comparing him to me, so there's that. Now, Herms, this arc, the Cell arc, start to finish, I've called it the arc of big mistakes. Now, obviously, in Dragon Ball, we have people making dumb mistakes over and over and over again. I don't think it's more prevalent than here in this arc, right? We've got the ability to stop Dr. Garo from ever making the androids. Bulma's like, we should do this. Yes, that would prevent the problem. Not kill him, put him in jail or something. No, can't do it. Yeah, we want to fight. 19 and 20.
Which, I mean, people criticize that, but that is kind of explicitly the theme of this arc is that we want to fight the toughest guys, even if it's dumb. That's pretty much it, yeah,
right?
I mean, they're not, like, it's kind of cliche to say that, like, Goku's not Superman, but, I mean, he's not, like, explicitly, he's concerned with testing his abilities. He's not, at the end, he doesn't want the planet to be destroyed, but that's his main priority isn't the safety of the planet. It's just being the best he can be and testing himself. And I mean, that's explicitly what they say. It's like, well, we could stop him now, but then we wouldn't get this challenge. And
well, exactly. They're not even thinking straight.
And I mean, the contrast between them and, well, Trunks, who is he's not that type of character. He's not a martial artist, really. He's concerned only with stopping this threat and making the world peaceful again. And so you do get the conflict between him and Vegeta over whether to make Cell perfect. And they do kind of gloss over, like, I don't know if he ever learned that they had the opportunity to stop Garo early and just kind of didn't take it. But, I mean, obviously that's something that Trunks probably wouldn't have been in agreement with.
I mean, go ahead, bro.
But I think it's kind of easy. I think people criticize this overtly because I think a lot of people kind of have a wrong idea about what the series is about at the end of the day.
I agree with you, and that's kind of the whole point, is that it's still, I mean, no matter what, okay, regardless of what the series is about, logically, it's a dumb decision. But one thing I do love about what Toriyama's doing here is, and this is where I agree with you, people don't understand this, okay, is that, yes, what these characters are doing, Vegeta, even Gohan later on when he doesn't finish off Cell when he could have. That's another one right there, another dumb decision. Wound up costing him his dad's life. Like, yes, these are all dumb decisions, but I like the fact that it's Goku and Vegeta, the purebloods, who are the most obsessed with fighting and getting the strongest opponents, whereas the more hybrid ones like Trunks and Gohan are more trying to, not fight. And you have that in the series when Gohan's telling Cell, I don't want to fight you, blah, blah, blah. And then 16 has to tell him, he can't be reasoned with. I mean, we know all that, but I like the fact that the human characters are the ones that are most human, whereas the Saiyans, or the Saiyans, however you want to pronounce it, they are the ones that are the boneheads. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like...
But that's what they are.
I mean, they make dumb decisions, but the decisions they make are perfectly in keeping with their character.
Exactly.
Like, that's who they are. That's like, it makes sense that Vegeta would allow Cell to become perfect. It's obviously not a good decision. It's explicitly shown to not be smart, but it's in keeping with what we'd expect of him to do.
Not just that, Herms, but one thing I love, again, I think that Herms, bro, I think with this arc, Toriyama had a lot of really good, subtle writing. I think that's where he really, stuck out. Because with this arc, I love the fact that later on, the roles are reversed, where Gohan's telling Cell, you don't want to piss me off, and Cell's doing everything in his power to piss him off, and it winds up costing him. Because why? Because Cell has Vegeta's cells inside of him, and thus he's going to be triggered by the same things Vegeta's triggered on. I thought that was brilliant, dude, that essentially every mistake that every character makes in this series, even though it fits with their character, ends up biting them in the ass. And we wind up having, you know, Vegeta get knocked out. We wind up having, you know, Goku die. Like, all these things, I think, are classic. I think it's great writing, honestly. I really do.
I mean, I think it's almost like people look at it as if it should be like a video, like they think the characters are in a video game that they are trying to win. It's like, oh, they shouldn't have done that. That, you know, that's.
Well, I mean, but they're right. They're right. They shouldn't have done that. But you're thinking of it from a logical human perspective, not from a warrior
they're looking
race.
at it. They're looking at it as like a puzzle to be solved. They're not, rather than like, I don't know. I think it's easy to almost look at, what's the word? Like almost backseat quarterback, I guess you could say. Not backseat. That's a mixed metaphor.
You're talking about it's a mixed
Monday morning quarterbacking.
Monday morning driver.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly. Anyway, perfect analogy. But okay, so
yeah, no,
and
we agree.
the thing is, and even at the end, and in keeping with that, like even when Gohan is just refusing to finish Cell off, he does that. In his case, he doesn't do that because he wants a fight, because he doesn't want a challenge, because at this point Cell's not a challenge for him. He keeps Cell alive because he thinks that Cell deserves to suffer more. Like, that's what he says. And so it's like, it's just the logical extension of Gohan's personality, as he has a stronger sense of a stronger sense of justice than Goku or Vegeta, who aren't really concerned. Like, that's why he becomes a literal superhero. And so it's kind of like so when he snaps, that sense of justice becomes twisted, and so he's like, he's not thinking about like the greater, like what would be like a logical thing. He's thinking morally. It's like, well, this person deserves to be punished, so I'm going to punish him, rather than like, well, I should probably just kill him now before something bad happens.
I like how you kind of flubbed up, bro. In your episode 167, you said you are watching Cell TV. It's you are now watching. You are now watching Cell TV. That's what you were going for.
Yeah, from the Mad TV.
From the Mad TV, yeah. Cell, come on. I totally saw that, bro. It's just that you forgot the now part.
I might have had to leave. I might have had to leave that out just because of Twitter character restrictions. Actually,
that might be the case too. Yeah, you're right. Cell Saga filler, okay? The girl named Lime, the return of Tao Pai Pai, the Gohan birthday. Your thoughts on that? Not in the manga. Were you happy to see Tao Pai Pai back? Do you think it was a waste? And what do you think about the Gohan development? What do you think about it?
Let's see. So I think the Lime episode wasn't as good, but the Gohan's birthday episode I thought was really cute. So I thought that was just one of the I think the phrase "slice of life" is overused, but I think that was a good example of that kind of thing. And then, let's see, the Tao Pai Pai episode with the puzzles, I thought that was just pretty funny and pretty good animation too. So I liked those two episodes on their own.
It was silly, yeah. And you've got... Now, did you think they could have utilized Tao Pai Pai better? I mean, he's not really a threat anymore. I mean, he's just...
No, I think that they did that perfectly, where he's like, at this point, just beyond a joke compared to the main characters.
What about the line where Cell says he can destroy a solar system or whatever? People have dissected that line. People think that they say that means that Cell can do it in one shot. I don't think he ever says he can do it in one shot.
Well, he says that he's gathered enough energy to blow the entire solar system away. So I guess that leaves room for interpretation.
It's just people have dissected that line for years, bro, thinking that he's actually stronger than he actually is.
Well, I mean, I don't even know, like, what would it literally mean to blow a solar system away?
Like 9 planets at once? Is that what he said? The moons?
I don't think it's really worth. I think at the end of the day, it's just Toriyama thinking. It's like, well, you know, Frieza, he was the last villain, and he could blow up a planet. So this new, like, what's the next step up from a planet? It's a solar system. So or have Cell say he can destroy a solar system.